my dear students. Today we're gonna talk about the congruency. We have studied it before in fourth primary. Today we're gonna talk about when we can say the two line segments are congruent. Two line segments are congruent if they are equal in length. Again, if we have two line segments are equal in measure, then we can say they are congruent. And if xy equal with EF, then we can say xy line segment congruent with EF line segment. And when we sign the sign of congruent, we must write the sign of line segment above each one. But if we say xy equal with EF, we don't write any sign of line segment above both of them. Okay, in another one, if we say xy line segment congruent with EF line segment, then when we subtract xy minus EF, it will be equal, yes, 0. Because their lengths are equal, so when we subtract both of them, it will be equal 0. Two angles are congruent if they are equal in measure. Again, when we can say two angles are congruent if they are equal in measure. Let's see, if measure of angle x equal measure of angle y, then we can say angle x congruent with angle y. But you note here something, when we say measure of angle x, we use it with sign equal measure of angle y. But when we use a sign congruent, we don't write abbreviate word the measure m here. Just say angle x congruent with angle y as the first time. Here, if if angle x complements with angle y and angle x congruent with angle y, that it means both of them, their sum equal 90 and both of them are equal. So how to find measure of angle x? Yes, by dividing 90 by 2. Measure of angle x equal 45, and also measure of angle y, it will be also equal 45. Here we're gonna talk about the two polygons are congruent if their corresponding sides and angles are equal. What is the meaning of two polygons? That any shape formed from three or more line segments. It means closed shape. We have studied before two polygons. It means any two shapes formed from three or more line segments. And it must be closed shape. Okay, let's see exercise to understand this. In the opposite figure, if the polygon XYZL, yes, congruent with the polygon EFCD. Here he gave me two polygons and both of them are congruent. So what we deduce that? We deduce that all of the sides here equal with all corresponding sides here, and all angles here, it will be equal with all corresponding angles here. I means, what is the meaning of corresponding sides or corresponding angles? I means here, for example, XY line segment, it will be equal with the corresponding line segment EF, and measure of angle X here, it will be equal with the corresponding angle, measure of angle E, and measure of angle Y here, it will be equal with the corresponding angle F, and Z, it will be equal with the corresponding angle C, and L equal with angle D. Okay, that's when we have two congruent polygons, we deduce that all sides, corresponding sides, and all corresponding angle must be are equal. Okay, let's see, he asked me to find xy equal with what? Yes, it's so better to find xy equal with what? From this rule. Okay, it will be so easy. xy, it will be equal with EF. And equal how many centimeter? Yes, from the shape, it's better to find the length here from the shape. xy equal with EF, so both of them equal 3 centimeter. Measure of angle x, yes, it's better to find from this rule. X here must be equal with measure of angle E. And how many degree? Yes, it will be from the shape, it will be is better. Measure of angle x equal with measure of angle E, it will be equal 100 degree. DC, yes, DC it will be equal with LZ. Equal how many centimeter? Yes, from the shape it will be equal 5 centimeter. Measure of angle C equal measure of angle what? Yes, measure of angle C it will be equal measure of angle Z. Equal how many degree? Yes, it will be equal 80 degree. Okay, follow. Here some notes, we must talk about them. If we have two squares, when we can say two squares are congruent? Yes, if just the sides are equal. But I told you before, the square is polygon, so why we didn't talk about the angles? Yes, when we say squares, there are here special case, because all squares, all angles must be each one equal 90. So I am sure all squares, their angles must be each one equal 90. So when we say squares are congruent, we just talk about the sides. The sides are equal, then the squares are congruent. And also when we talk about the rectangles, are congruent if the dimensions are equal, because also every rectangle has 4 right angles. So when we talk about congruent rectangles, we must talk about the dimensions. If the dimensions are equal, then the two rectangles are congruent. Let's see more exercise in the opposite figures. He gave me here two polygons, X, Y, Z, L, congruent with A, B, C, D. The polygon X, Y, Z, L congruent with the polygon A, B, C, D. Find AB equals what? I told you before, it's better to find AB equals what? From this rule, not from this shape, because it will be so difficult to find AB equals with which side here. AB, it will be equal with XY, yes, it will be equal with XY. And equal how many centimeter? Yes, we must go to our shapes. XY here it will be equal 3 centimeter. So AB it also equals 3 centimeter. LZ it will be equal with DC. Equal how many centimeter? Yes, from the shape DC here it will be equal with LZ equal 5 centimeter. Number 2. Measure of angle A, and he asked me to find the measure of angle A. Okay, by using this rule, measure of angle A here, it will be equal with measure of angle X. And what about the measure of angle X from the shape? It will be 100. So measure of angle A also it will be equal 100 degree. Measure of angle Z, yes, from here it will be easy. Measure of angle Z equal with measure of angle C. And what about the measure of angle C here? Yes, it will be 70 degree. So measure of angle Z it will be also 70 degree. Thanks for your listening. Goodbye in the next session.